The Weird Rebellion of Polish Movie Posters by this channel, Pyramid Peak. I'm going to subscribe. I think it's gonna be probably about the movie posters, but in the Polish language, right? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know you guys do dub your movies. Actually, you don't dub your movies. You do voiceovers, if I'm not mistaken. I've reacted to some videos about that. Here in Italy, we do the same, but we do like dubbing. There's no original audio. So the posters, most of the time, they are different than the original one. I mean, at least the name of the movie. So yeah, let's check this video out. I don't know what to expect, actually.
It's time to play Guess. That. Movie. First question.
Oh, from the poster. Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
This is a poster for what movie?
Indiana Jones,
Correct.
Of course.
It's Raiders of the Lost Ark. If you said Indiana Jones, you get like half a point.
Oh, what?
Question 2. This poster of a skull with a whip snake thing
Oh my god. No idea what that is.
slithering through it is for what movie? It's also Raiders of the Lost Ark.
What? Wait, what?
The Polish poster. What about this skull with wings flying right at you? That's
I have
Alfred
no
Hitchcock's
idea.
The Birds. The Polish version. Okay, what about
Wow.
this pink rib cage with eyeballs?
I have
That's
no
Polish
idea.
Alien. Obviously. If
Obviously.
you look at almost any Polish movie poster from the 50s to the 80s, they'll have this abstract imagery that's sometimes pretty morbid, and it takes a while to understand what you're even looking at. Where the original
Oh.
American artwork for these movies
This is super artistic, I must
centers
say.
around the starring actors and instantly recognizable images, the Polish art is, well, just look at it. It's weird, but kind of incredible. And it
Yes.
makes you wonder, how did the same
Bro, that's crazy. That's the Taxi
from the
Driver.
same era
Wow.
get such radically different poster styles? The answer is communism. Well,
Oh.
Glorified, glittering, fascinating, fabulous, mythical kingdom. Hollywood, the glamour capital of the world.
As I'm sure you're aware, Hollywood is a business. They sell you movies. So every time we tape up a vintage poster to the dorm wall or listen to a 4-hour video essay about Finding Nemo lore, we can forget that movies are products and posters are ads. That's not to say they can't also be incredible works of art, it's just that they serve a purpose outside of looking cool. And because a movie poster is meant to get you to buy a ticket, Hollywood prioritizes marketability over creativity. Movie posters are created by artists, but influenced by market research, studio executives, focus groups, and that means simple images, big names, and of course, the infamous floating heads. And it feels like everyone knows how bland movie posters are today, but even in the golden age of Hollywood, a good movie poster was hard to come by. We just remember the best posters from that era because, well, they're the best. Plus, the fact that they were painted instead of Photoshop does add some charm. But even in the so-called good old days, artists could still be stifled by the cold, tightly controlled Hollywood bureaucracy. But these strange, beautiful, haunting Polish posters were made under a system that was more controlled than Hollywood. A lot more controlled. The Polish communist government was a puppet state of Soviet Russia, controlled by none other than Joseph Stalin. The government censored books, radio, and films that the Soviet authorities didn't approve of. Now, this was nothing new for Poland because for them, art had already been censored for years under the previous German occupation. So when the government decided to allow select American films to enter the country, Polish citizens were excited to see what Hollywood had been cooking up for the last half-decade. Thousands of Polish youth would even be watching a movie for the very first time. But first, the Polish film propaganda office...
Bro, that's crazy. Look how the movies were
be
shown
watching a
before.
movie.
That's incredible. Oh my god. Bro. These are your grandparents, by the way, you know? Along this, there's gonna be your grandpa. Oh my god, that's
for
incredible.
the very first time. But first, the Polish film propaganda office needed movie posters in their own language. So they reached out to an artist named Henryk Tomaszewski.
Ja rzekłem, że pod jednym warunkiem
I agreed to make the posters under one condition. They should not expect me to make posters that resemble the American posters. Drawing from his fine art backgrounds of surrealism and expressionism, Tomaszewski's posters were playful, strange, and suggestive. in a medium that was expected to be a literal depiction of the movie and its actors. His work forces the viewers to look a little deeper. Together, Tomaszewski and a few colleagues began creating posters that were distinctly their own. They were working with poor printing materials, which meant they couldn't rely on photography, instead using more simple shapes that were easily reproducible at a large scale. Compared to other forms of art in Soviet Poland, the censorship on movie posters was very relaxed. Soviet authorities saw the posters as nothing more than advertising, and odds are they never even saw the movies they were based on. Clearly. They also had no reason to push one film over another, so they weren't worried if the poster was even effective in making people actually watch the movie. And so, while the rest of Polish society was heavily restricted, poster art became a loophole. One of the few creative spaces where artists had freedom.
Wow, so cool.
That's how we ended up with posters like this. They were surreal and strange, the only pops of color pasted onto the endless gray walls of rubble that made up many Polish cities.
I wonder, sorry for stopping, but I have a question. I wonder if there's like a museum of the cinema in Poland where I can see all these posters, at least the best ones. It would be super cool. It would be like a super cool museum. I love to go to the one in Turin. That's the cinema museum. They have all these posters hang out. They teach you how the photography developed, how cinema developed. It was a really cool experience. I've been there already like 3 or 4 times. It's such a cool museum. So I wonder if you guys have that too. I think you do, right? It must be amazing to go there.
That were destroyed under German occupation in World War II. They were violent and moody, reflecting a fatalistic people who lost almost 20% of their population to the war and were freed from one oppressor just to be conquered by another, an oppressor that tightly controlled all aspects of Polish life. Where an American poster might feature a heroic cowboy and smiling actors, the Polish version would focus on the violence, an anonymous weapon pointed right at the viewer.
Makes sense.
The posters were confusing. In a time when pushing back on the government's narratives could lead to harsh consequences, any message against the system had to be complex enough that it would get past the state censors. On the surface, these were just surreal. You know, weird artists making weird art, like they do. But to Polish citizens walking through cities that were heavily destroyed by war and still occupied by a foreign government, they hinted at hopelessness, oppression, and unrest. All the things you couldn't talk about. We wanted our poster to be seen by the public, so we had to comply with their expectations in the first layer of meaning. But each of us tried to smuggle in some undertones.
Stalin is dead. A new era begins.
When Stalin died, many of the restrictions were gradually lifted over Polish art, which meant that the Polish poster school's artists were able to create work for films and plays from their own country, often using that same subversive imagery. But even years after Stalin died, writers and artists were still being arrested for criticizing the government. So even once the Polish film and art industries were allowed to ramp back up again, the movie poster loophole was still one of the best ways to criticize the system. And that's not to say all these posters had political messages. It's just that in communist Poland, posters became the de facto art form for any message. The street plastered with movie posters was the art gallery. People walking by might be able to spot a Gorka poster just by the faces made up of other shapes, or a Moldojinets poster just by recognizing all the stick figures. This artist, Waldemar Świercy, created over 1,500 posters, which were reprinted in millions of copies pasted around Poland for decades.
That's insane.
Here he is talking about how the Polish poster school became so influential that college students started to switch from traditional fine arts into the only field that would allow them to push boundaries.
It was very contagious to the young people, and therefore students would turn from painting to poster design.
It wouldn't be long before those same students would use poster design to help overturn the very systems that were holding them back. Hey, do you have a wall? If you do, it's not complete without a poster that shows everyone your refined taste. For that, you've got to check out movieposters.com. They have pretty much everything, from the classic posters we all know and love to ones that are a little harder to find, like these vintage Polish posters.
So cool!
They even have original and rare prints, including tons of Star Wars posters I've never seen before, which I didn't even think
Bro, I want those Polish movie posters.
I went ahead and got my dad a Back to the Future poster for his birthday. Follow the link here or the one in the description and go see if there's something that catches your eye. Thanks to movieposters.com for sponsoring this video. The 50s and 60s are considered the golden age, but the Polish school of posters continued all throughout the 70s and 80s. Hollywood's original posters in this era were generally pretty good, but it's still interesting to see Polish artists haunting interpretations for blockbusters like Jaws, The Godfather, and Star Wars.
Wait, how is Jaws?
Polish artists haunting interpretations for blockbusters like...
Bro, wow, look at that. That's crazy because it's super scary, the poster for Jaws, the original, with the huge shark. It looks like it's about to eat you. But this one is just a shark that already had eaten someone. That's insane. Look at the blood.
Jaws, The Godfather, and Star Wars.
The Godfather, you know, just showing someone being a mafia man without showing his face. It's not important. That's crazy. Look at the Star Wars one. Yeah, this one is actually very simple, to be honest.
Want to play another round of
Guess that movie.
I know you do.
Okay.
All right. This car and squiggly lines that turn into
Okay, Steven Spielberg. Is that Back to the Future?
a face when you squint your eyes is a poster for what movie? That's Back to the Future.
Yeah, that one was
Okay,
pretty
how about
easy.
evil origami Yoda viciously attacking Santa Claus?
I don't know, Grinch.
That's the Polish poster for Gremlins, obviously.
Oh,
Here's one of my
Gremlins.
favorites. It's a shark with two jaws.
Oh.
Jaws 2.
Dude, oh, that's genius.
But while the artists were cooking up their weird masterpieces, something big was happening outside the studio. As the Soviet
Wow,
Union's
that's so
grip on
cool.
Eastern Europe began to slip, Poland
Bro, we definitely should do a reaction to all the posters for older movies, for classic movies, you know? And I'm trying to guess them. If you know of any, I don't know, YouTube video or website that has that, you know, some quiz for that, definitely let me know. We'll do a video reaction in the future.
entered a crossroads. In 1989, Poland's first semi-free elections were held between the ruling communist government and the anti-authoritarian Polish Solidarity Party, a movement led by workers and artists who challenged the Soviet regime. To communicate their political messages, Polish artists used movie posters, the same way they had been for the last 40 years. A 22-year-old design student from the Solidarity Party named Tomasz Sarnecki created a poster that became the defining image of the election. He took a still from the 1950s Western film High Noon and traded the heroic cowboy's gun for a voting ballot. The Solidarity Party made it an official campaign poster and plastered it across the country on every wall, every lamppost, and every train station. This time, the message didn't have to be subtle. Vote against the current government. High Noon, June 4th, 1989. The Solidarity Party overwhelmingly won that first election over the communist government, winning 99 out of 100 Senate seats and paving the way for Poland's transition into a democracy. According to one of the party's leaders, Bronisław Geremek, the poster helped unify the Solidarity Party. It helped us win. For the people of Poland, High Noon comes today. After
That's
40 years,
amazing.
it was fitting that a poster would help put an end to government censorship in Poland. However, with the restrictions from communism gone, in came influences from capitalism. In Poland, movie posters were ads once again, and surreal, thought-provoking designs don't actually sell movie tickets. So while artists were finally free to create whatever they wanted outside of the film industry, within the film industry they had no choice but to follow the same commercial interests that Hollywood did. In came the big names, the simple themes, the standardized branding, and of course...
Oh, that's so sad.
And if you walk past a Polish movie theater today, you'll find that the only difference between the American and the Polish posters is the Polish. Here's poster artist Wiktor Gorka speaking in 2003.
Teraz mamy pełną swobodę I coś, co...
Now we have total freedom, and what do you see in the streets? We see very poor quality posters. Of course, it's better that people are free to make what they want, but isn't it just a little sad that we'll never see a movement like this again? But the legacy of the Polish school
I mean,
posters is still
times
going
change,
strong.
of course.
Posters from this era have become collector's items worth thousands, and they're studied
Yes.
in design schools across the globe. They continue to inspire modern designers, illustrators, filmmakers, and anyone out there who wants to create something. Through what was basically a loophole in Soviet censorship, the movie poster became something beyond a simple ad. It became fine art,
an expression of struggle, and a weapon of change. And yeah, it looked really weird while doing it.
That was
If
an
you found this
amazing
topic
video.
interesting, I recommend checking
I
out a few
did.
of the sources I'll link in the description. They go much more in depth than what
Wow,
was
that's
the
so cool.
oversimplified American perspective I gave here. And if you subscribe, I promise I won't make any more videos that require me to horribly mispronounce like 15 Polish names.
I think he actually pronounced most of the names really well, right? I was actually surprised because most of the people don't even try to pronounce the names well. I don't know. I'm really surprised about this channel. That was really amazing. And what we saw, it's the result of globalization. Sometimes globalization is good, but most of the times, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it went down like that because those posters were super cool. Oh my god, wow. That's an amazing story too. I had no idea. Literally no idea. Wow. Bro, I'm so happy that this video got recommended in my YouTube feed a couple of days ago. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any comments or you want to say something to me about this topic, definitely let me know down in the comment section. Also some recommendations because I want to dive deeper into the subject. It's super interesting and cool. So yeah, thank you so much. I wish you all a lovely weekend. Ciao, ciao.